I don't see where the joke comes in there either, I said, and I did not feel particularly pleased with him for saying such things. He laid his hand on my arm and said, "Friend John, forgive me if I pain. I showed not my feeling to others when it would wound, but only to you, my old friend, whom I can trust. If you could have looked into my very heart then, when I want to laugh, if you could have done so when the laugh arrived, if you could do so now when King Laffer pack up his crown and all that is to him, for he go far, far away from me, and for a long time, maybe you would perhaps pity me the most of all." I was touched by the tenderness of his tone, and asked why. "Because I know. And now we are all scattered, and for many a day loneliness will sit over our roofs with brooding wings. Lucy lies in the tomb of her kin, a lordly death-house in a lonely churchyard, away from teeming London, where the air is fresh and the sun rises over Hampstead Hill, and where wildflowers grow of their own accord. So I can finish this diary, and God only knows if I shall ever begin another. If I do, or if I ever open up this again, it will be to deal with different people and different times, for here at the end, where the romance of my life is told, ere I go back to take up the thread of my life work, I say sadly and without hope, Finis." The Westminster Gazette, 25th of September. A Hampstead Mystery. The neighbourhood of Hampstead is just at present exercised with a series of events which seems to run lines parallel to those of what was known to the writers of the headlines as the Kensington Horror, or the Stabbing Woman, or the Woman in Black. During the past 2 or 3 days, several cases have occurred of young children staying from home or neglecting to return from their playing fields in the Heath. In all these cases, the children were too young to give any properly intelligible account of themselves, but the consensus of their excuses is that they have been with a bloofer lady. It has always been late in the evening when they have been missed, and on 2 occasions the children have not been found until early in the following morning. It is generally supposed in the neighbourhood that, as the first child missed gave this as his reason for being away, that a bloofer lady had come to ask him for a walk, the others had picked up the phrase and used it as an occasion served. This is the more natural, as the favourite game of the little ones at present is luring each other away by wiles. A correspondent writes us that to see some of the tiny tots pretending to be the bloofer lady is supremely funny. Some of our characters might, he says, take a lesson in the irony of grotesque by comparing the reality and the picture. It is only in accordance with general principles of human nature that the bloofer lady should be popular role at these alfresco performances. Our correspondent naively says that ever Ellen Terry could not be so winningly attractive as some of these grubby-faced little children pretend, and even imagine themselves, to be. There is, however, possibly a serious side to the question, for some of the children, indeed all who have been missed at night, have been slightly torn or wounded in the throat. The wounds seem such as might be made by a rat or a small dog, and, although of not much importance individually, would tend to show that whatever animal inflicts them has a system or method of its own. The police of the division have been instructed to keep a sharp lookout for straying children, especially when very young, in and around Hampstead Heath, and for any stray dog which may be about. The Westminster Gazette, 25th of September, Extra Special, The Hampstead Horror, Another Child Injured, The Bloofer Lady. We have just received intelligence that another child missed last night was only discovered late in the morning under a furze bush at the Shooter's Hill side of the Hampton Heath, which is, perhaps, less frequented than the other parts. It has the same tiny wound in the throat and has been noticed in other cases. It was terribly weak, and looked quite emaciated. It, too, when partly restored, had the common story of telling being lured away by the bloofer lady.